I call them the other intelligent omnivore. They are really amazing mammals.
Bears are extremely important for every single ecosystem in the world. Even though people say, oh no, but there are only bears, it's because of those bears that we have a really beautiful and balanced ecosystem. You just remove those animals from the ecosystem and the ecosystem collapses. So we are only 8 species in the world, 8. But these 8 species are helping the planet, I will say the planet, to keep this balance.
Ever since a young age, I've had a really strong passion and tie to bears. And the first time I was in this stream and came around the bend, then there was just this ginormous dark brown bear down there called Shiras, because they're almost black. And it was just right there in the stream, and it sounds so silly, but like we locked eyes. It was like this romantic thing. And I've encountered lots and lots of brownies since then, some with a lot more personality than that, but that dark boar that was in Middle Creek will always stick with me.
We're up near the river, and I have a bear with her cubs walk about 25 feet away, lay down and start nursing her cubs right next to me. And I had a camera with a telephoto, but she was too close to even focus on. And I was just so amazed that she was so trusting and relaxed around us, that she felt comfortable bringing her cubs. And I mean, moments like that, I just am so happy.
It was our first day of field work, and on the way to that very first site, we saw a mother grizzly bear and her cub in a face-off with 2 Arctic wolves over a muskox carcass. And I thought it was just the coolest thing in the world, and I thought that, this might be the, what it's like to do field work up there. I never saw a grizzly bear for about 2 months.
And I find even after decades of being around bears, I still get excited by the chance to observe bears, see them doing their things, catching fish, playing, that sort of thing. I still love that. I mean, I've never gotten tired of watching bears.
Like any other large carnivore or mammal, it's fragmentation of habitats.
Because human activities are increasing and increasing, the demand of land is increasing as well. So the fragments are getting really isolated, and for bears they are getting every time more difficult to move from one fragment to the other.
The now recovering population of large carnivores increases the potential conflict and eventually will increase conflicts with humans. I think that is one of the biggest challenges.
It's important that people understand how to behave around bears so that bears and people can coexist better. And it's a fear, because bears do injure people once in a while and even have killed people.
I think that the more the local people know about the large carnivores in the area, the more likely they are to protect them.
It is really important to reinforce the indigenous communities. It is important to reinforce the role of young generations and make them feel proud.
I love bears. Bears have enriched my life, and I'm really concerned about their long-term conservation. And I guess one of the things that I see is there's a lot of people in the world, there's more and more people in the world, the population's increasing, and there's a lot of people who are totally disconnected from the natural world. And there are millions and millions of people, probably billions, who probably would care less if bears disappeared. But I know there's also a lot of people like me whose life feel like the fact that there are bears, whether you see them or don't, enriches your life and enriches the planet. And so I think it's important for anybody who does care about the natural world and who care about bears to make it a priority to do something to help bears.
We tell bear stories to our children. I mean, that's how it starts. What is very important to do is to go out to the nature, especially with your kids or your family, spend time outside and talk about these things.
Well, I think that there's many different things that people can do to help conserve nature and to reduce the amount of waste or pollution that they do. But I think that one of the most important things is just to get people talking about these issues and to generate people's interest in these kinds of issues.
There's lots of different ways to do it, from speaking up to your political representatives or giving some money to conservation causes or thinking about a career in conservation where you make sure bears are around for the long term.
From the smallest things, it's just buying volunteers lunch, or doing sampling, or getting camera traps. Everything, unfortunately, is funded. None of us are millionaires, but if you can, just donate some money a year.
People want to know what they can get out of it, and they want to know, well, if we conserve this, am I going to get money from it, or what is it going to take away from me if I conserve this? And so I think that that's one of the biggest hurdles. We should conserve them for what they are, and just for the fact that they exist, more so than what we get out of them.
Ultimately, the change will follow when people's attitudes start to change about these.
As far as conservation, nothing is too small. It could just be posting flyers for an event. Just get out there and do something. Just help out.
The danger is to start feeling apathetic and like, well, I can't really do very much with my, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have the knowledge to really make a big impact, and there's so many factors. And you want to avoid that trap and just look for little ways to do things. The types of experiences I've been lucky to have in my life, I'd like to think that 50 years, 100 years down the road, there can still be young kids that can go out and find the same kind of excitement that I had when I was young. Conservation is a difficult thing, because sometimes you can feel overwhelmed and you can feel helpless, like it's not possible to do very much as a individual person. But there's a quote that I always liked that said, no matter what you do will be insignificant, but it's important that you do it.
Every little organism, it has a role, and we need to respect. We need to respect every little form of life. Even though we don't like mosquitoes, I don't like mosquitoes. Actually, I don't respect mosquitoes' life. Every little organism is important for our lives. Yeah, and bears, of course.